Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Curtis Mayfield was one of the most iconic R&B artists from the 60s and 70s thanks to his lyric, social and political commentary. When he was not on the stage, Mayfield was a father of 10 children and they are keeping his legacy alive. Curtis Mayfield first came into the spotlight as part of the R&B group The Impressions. He was only a background vocalist at first, but when the group started making hits, their main vocalist Jerry Butler left and Mayfield took the lead. Soon he started making an impression not only as the main vocalist but also as a songwriter, guitarist and record producer. His message, music, was influential during the civil rights movement era, and to this day Mayfield is a significant figure in the industry. Mayfield, born in 1942 in Chicago, was heavily influenced by his grandmother's traveling soul spiritualist church and the gospel music he heard every Sunday. It did not take long before he joined the church choir. His mother taught him piano and he learned to play guitar all by himself at 10 years old. 2 years later he started writing songs, and soon after he was dropping out of school. Mayfield met Jerry Butler in church at age 14 and together they joined a group called the Roasters. Although they had potential, they had to change their name to The Impressions after noticing the audience growing every time they performed. For Your Previous Love, the group's first hit, reached the top 20 in the R&B and pop charts, an amazing feat for the black group. Soon after, Butler left to pursue a solo career. Mayfield kept creating hits alongside The Impressions, including songs like He Will Break Your Heart, Need to Belong to Someone, Find Yourself Another Girl, and the 1961 hit Gypsy Woman. In 1964, amid the social unrest that created the civil rights movement, Mayfield's career took a turning point when he started to include social messages in his songs. How many 54-year-old quadriplegics are putting albums out? He said in an interview at the time. Tracks like Keep On Pushing, People Get Ready, and We Are a Winner became anthems for the movement led by Martin Luther King Jr. and the representation of black pride and power. Mayfield left The Impressions in 1970 to launch a solo career. Perhaps his most famous work as a solo artist was the soundtrack for the blaxploitation film Superfly, which sold over 12 million copies and earned him a Grammy Award nomination. Soon, most of Mayfield's time was occupied by writing movie soundtracks. He did the music for the film Claudine, featuring Gladys Knight and the Pips, and worked with Aretha Franklin in Sparkle and the Staple Singers on Let's Do It Again. In 1980, Mayfield moved from Chicago to Atlanta with his family. He continued releasing albums that failed to replicate his success from the 60s and 70s but were well received by the audience. One reason Mayfield decided to move to Atlanta was to spend more time with his large family. He had 10 children, 2 from his first marriage to Helen Mayfield, 2 more from a relationship with a woman named Diane, and 6 from his marriage to Althea Mayfield. Talking to the Times, Mayfield said that while music was a big part of his personality, there was more to life than that. For him, it was essential to feel fulfilled, as he explained. You see, I have wonderful children. I believe in being involved with my family. I lead a full life. Mayfield was a dedicated father and husband, but he also had a dark past, as recounted by his soul Todd Mayfield in the book Traveling Soul, The Life of Curtis Mayfield. In the book, Todd painted his dad as the man who was unfaithful and emotionally unavailable to most of his lovers. He also said his father had a history of physical abuse, something Todd described as an inexplicable occurrence of weakness. But Mayfield was never abusive towards his children. He took them on road trips and did everything in his power to have his 10 children bonding, although they had different mothers. Tia Mayfield, another of the singer's sons, said his father was a pretty standard parent and his children never knew of his celebrity status while growing up. Tia in particular realized the reach of his father's influence in music once he was much older. On August 13, 1990, Mayfield was on stage for a concert in Brooklyn when a lighting rig fell on him. The heavy rig crushed several vertebrae, leaving Mayfield paralyzed from the neck down. The following year, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the member of The Impressions. Later in 1999, he was inducted a second time as a solo artist. Despite his physical impediment, Mayfield created one more album, New World Order, which was recorded one line at a time while he was laying down and released in 1996. How many 54-year-old quadriplegics are putting albums out? He said in an interview at the time. You just have to deal with what you got, try to sustain yourself as best as you can, and look to the things that you can do. In 1998, doctors had to amputate Mayfield's right leg because of diabetes diabetes. He died aged 57 on December 26, 1999 at North Fulton Regional Hospital in Roswell, Georgia. Before passing away, Mayfield left his longtime manager, Marv Heyman, in charge of his estate and the Mayfield Family Trust. His wife, Althea, their 6 children, and 2 of his other children were appointed as beneficiaries in his will. In 2003, Althea prepared a court motion asking a judge to remove Heyman from all of her late husband's financial matters, claiming that the manager has misused millions from the Mayfield estate in less than 4 years. Althea also claimed Heyman had caused tax problems for her and her children and even threatened her with not receiving her quarterly income payment once she requested that she step down as executor. He wanted to make sure I did not have enough money to pay my lawyers to remove him, she said at the time. She also claimed Heyman invested her money in a small firm in Florida, where he was a director for a little over a year. Heyman resigned from the estate board in 2009 and Althea is now the operator of the estate. As part of her work, she partnered with Lionel Richie in 2017 to produce a feature based on the life of Curtis Mayfield. It is not clear if the film is already in the works. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe.